Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Disc Golf Show as I adjust my microphone closer to my face here. Today is May 20th, 2025. This is episode 10 of 2025 season. See how we did things there? Today's episode is brought to you in part by Final Nine Sports with their two locations, one in Orangevale, one in Rocklin, California. The point is, support local. That might not be your local shop. If it is, stop in. You should know it. Do it, because that's the right thing to do. Or support your local shop. But let's just say your local shop doesn't have everything you need, because that's a possibility, right? Well, you can go online to discgolfdealsusa.com/discgolfshow and order there, and that will save you 10% off your entire purchase, which is a killer deal. So if you can't support local, hey, we have a solution for you. Today is going to be a great show. My name is Justin, and with me today are these two gentlemen, wherever they're sitting.
Well, I'm Nick, so that's me.
Awesome. And, do we lose Ken?
I think we might have lost Ken.
We just lost Ken. He was like, intro, too long, I'm out. That's it. You have a certain amount of time to get stuff done, Justin. And if you're going to go off and just blabber about ways people can save money, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because as we know, Ken is not about saving you money. Just kidding. Let's just jump into the news, and he'll join us. Ken's here today. He'll jump back in. It's probably just spotty internet connection. So let's jump into the news and get it started. Here we go.
All right.
News.
I'm going to start off on the first one. So, I'm jumping in, taking it. Tristan Tanner announces he's taking some time off from the tour to manage an injury from actually last year, which is, dude, that's a bummer. Anytime that you have to, take time off, especially on the tour, bummer, dude. Hopefully, speedy recovery. Recovery. Apparently, it was a bone bruise on his ulna. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That sucks. That'll take you out of some disc golf. That'll take you out of some disc golf. So.
And having to revisit an old injury is never fun. But
no.
Big congratulations to him, as he's going to be getting married here in a few days.
Oh, so. Yeah, congratulations. It's all over. There goes your disc golf game. There goes your... I'm just kidding.
As always.
But that might happen.
Yeah. I did want to notate here, and I hope this is I don't know what this is, because I was like, I'm sure this is just him testing the waters, but Brodie did a video of what's going on with him. Is he back? He's kind of, his thing is he's trying to qualify for USDGC this year, which more power to him. I get both sides of the argument with him, because it seems like sometimes, hey, there we go, Ken.
Ken's back. How's it going? I told you he'd be back.
I get the argument with him sometimes of people saying, oh, he's, not committed and stuff like that. I get that, because he's doing a lot of different things. He wears a lot of hats. Because there's some truth to that. Yeah, there is.
He's not committed to it because he's got other stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
That's the difference, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing wrong at all. But hopefully, we'll see him able to compete at USDGC if he does qualify.
I'm hitting the echo cancellation now.
Anybody got their speakers on right now? Because I can hear us.
All right,
with the delay.
I think Ken, you got your speakers on? Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, no worries. Yeah, I think hopefully he's back, personally, because I like to see him on the course.
No, I like Brodie Smith too, and I like what he brings attention to disc golf, right? All the stuff that he did with Ultimate and bringing kind of more eyes and more bodies over, the more the merrier. Yep. And if he's got other priorities, then so be it. Honestly, the reason people have a problem with him is he speaks his mind.
Yes.
He doesn't hold back. And people have a problem with that. They don't like
and you need that in sport.
The black and white saying it how it is, or at least expressing your opinion. People don't like the negativity.
Yeah.
And that is what it is. If you don't like him, you don't like him, I guess. But
yeah.
I see a lot of stuff online about things that just don't make sense. The vitriol,
I think he's great for the sport.
Well, any community.
I really
especially
do.
the disc golf
Brodie's
community
great
is
for the
really
sport.
quick sometimes to jump on board and poop all over
someone. It would be nice to see him out on the course throwing a little bit more, but even what he's doing with podcasting and just the videos and things like that he's doing, still bringing more eyes to the sport, still bringing strong opinions, which we need. There's too many wishy-washy,
Yeah.
oh, we need to try this, or maybe in a few years we do this, where he's like, no, let's get it done now. And I agree with a lot of what he says. I really do.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's a super good point, is the fact that even if he doesn't end up playing, if he stays in some facet as a commentator or as a podcaster or anything like that, I think that's definitely something that we need. So yeah,
it wouldn't let me hit
good
the
point on that.
cancellation.
Even if he's not playing, it's good to have him involved.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me hit the cancellation on my end because we were recording.
You can still hear us bleeding through. And the audio experience is going to be terrible. Gotcha.
Sure, go through, upload it to 2000.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 2025 Champions Cup skins video.
All right. Next one, you want to take it, Ken?
Gibson, but it required a subscription to watch it. What are our thoughts on that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things, like, it's not, well, it's like one of those extra things. It's not something that's on a,
right,
like an actual tour round, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's not something that's like official, if you will. It's a for fun kind of thing. So, you know, those extra videos, I kind of included in that extra video miscellaneous kind of thing that's thrown in for funsies, like extra content outside of the main chunk of stuff that you're primarily going to see. Okay, I'm fine with it, right? You know, at the end of the day, you got to put food on the table somehow, so you got to figure out where that line is where you're going to charge, and I don't necessarily mind it here.
I'm kind of here nor there on it. I think it's great that you got to pay to watch it? No, because they do a lot of other skins videos that are of no charge and they're free, but now this one happens to be charged. It's a Champions Cup. It's a major venue this year anyway. You know, like you said, yeah, they got to find ways to make money to better that tour and that brand, I guess. So,
yeah,
you know,
and maybe that's a thing where you see a monetary type of thing. Like, you have to have a subscription up front for a certain amount of time. And then after a certain amount of time, that kind of drops and it becomes like a free video, right?
Yeah,
that could work.
It could work. If it brings sponsors to it to where they don't need the sponsorship subscription, maybe.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe.
We'll see.
It just, because of the venue that it was at, I think they needed
major that just happened
to monetize it. You know, because that one's the one that's out of the middle, you know, in the middle of nowhere.
No, go for it.
The one that's, you know, the guy sunk millions of dollars into that course. So I think that's exactly why they did that, you know, with those people in that course.
Yeah, I get that one. But this is Champions Cup skins, which is actually the one in Stockton at the OTB course.
Oh, wow. Yes, you're right.
Well, yeah,
totally mistaken.
I
thought it was the
one
that
this is Champions Cup skins, which is actually the one in Stockton at the OTB course. Yeah. So, yeah. But here nor there. DGT event this last weekend was a Cascade Challenge sponsor, or Discraft's Cascade Challenge. That it was pretty for me. The course personally, and I talked with Ken a little bit earlier. Personally, I love the course because it's more of a disc golf course, right? It's in the woods. It's got specific lines to hit. But to me, there was no like jump out at you like signature holes. There were a couple holes. There's a U-shaped hole that you came out and back into the woods. There was the island hole. But to me, it didn't feel like there was a specific hole. I think the best thing out of this whole event was the trophy. But, you know, what was it? the Chain Man trophy. That was cool. And then they also won their little hatchets, or whatever. They usually give out axes. This time it's a little hand axe. Right. But ultimately you had a couple positives. Main positive for me is Des Redding was in the booth with Ian Anderson for FPO, and she did a great job. She's very knowledgeable. She's been in the game forever. Ultimately, in the end, you had Missy and good old AB. There was Missy kind of ran away with it for FPO, but AB and Simon kind of ended up having a battle there near the end. It was good to see Simon on his game, and AB just lit it up in the last round to hold him off. So big shout out to those guys for those wins at the DGPT event.
I loved this course. Absolutely. I thought visually it was stunning.
I think that brings us to the
California.
Section, right?
I've been screaming on this podcast for the last few months that I love these wooded tracks and the big trees and the big bushes to where even somebody as tall as Simon and stuff like that, like the bushes were right at chest level, head level. You really had to adjust your putt, to get the the putter in the basket and things like that. In the FPO field, even worse. There were bushes that were taller than most of them. To see them fighting through the course, I really enjoyed the course. You're right. There was no signature hole or anything like that I could really point out other than the two you mentioned. And the battles, that to me, even Simon had to have 2 throw-ins, from over 80 feet, 100 feet, just to really keep pace and to keep up there with AB. I think both, FPO and MPO fields were kind of, it was MPO was closer than what it seemed, but it still was pretty much AB had it in the bag from the final round.
Yeah, and one more thing I do want to add on this course, for this course, is the fact that Yeah, and one more thing I do want to add on this course, for this course, is the fact that apparently the layout is actually open all year. So even as an AM, even as a new player, you could actually go play that layout at any point, which is really cool. I think that's something that needs to be implemented at all these events.
Absolutely, and that now finally brings us to the end of the segment. Let's move on to the next segment, Disc Golf Conversation.
My God, are you still talking?
We are, and this is a cool part where you could talk too if you'd like. We'll always leave a question down below, the question that we ask ourselves here on the show, and you can participate and answer, and let's see what you think. I always pin that question down at the bottom of the YouTube video, so let us know. Let us know. I love seeing what you guys think.
Spotter of the year, Champions Cup, he's still, Jamie Coy still's got it in the bag right now for us. I think that I didn't notice any outstanding spotters at this event, though there were several because it is a wooded course. So maybe there were a couple good ones in there. Nothing jumped out at me. So shout out to Jamie again. As for question of the show is going to be, do you have a feature or design aspect that you think every course should have as part of the course? Whether it be water, an island hole, something else, wide open shots. What is it that you think needs to be, at least for the Pro Tour level? What do you think needs to be involved? Or does something need to be at every event?
I was going to say, I don't think there needs to be something specific on every course, and that's kind of what makes it fun to watch and interesting to watch. You start getting into the realm of it needs to have this and needs to have that and needs to have this on the design. Then they all start looking the same. I don't want that. I want differences. I want certain courses to have this feature thing that might not be found in other courses, and that's what makes it kind of unique to play in. So I don't think limiting a designer to you must have this and you must have that is a great idea. As a matter of fact, I think that's a pretty dumb idea.
But there are some things. Sure, I don't mind seeing on every hole. Love seeing a water carry.
What about you, Ken?
I love seeing an island hole. I also love seeing that perfectly framed up, very narrow, like straight shot. Now, do I like seeing Mandos on either side and them forcing them down that, straight shot that they tend to only make like 300 feet? Not necessarily. I mean, you can see the fairway is there, but I, that's personally something I don't know why I love that, but I just love when the trees are just lined up perfectly down and in the basket right dead center. But do I think that should be on every course? No, but I love seeing that one.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I don't. Sounds good. Sounds good. Again, on this one, I like specific features? Yes. But as Justin said, and I don't think it's necessary on every single course. But I do like to see, like for me, as our previous discussion earlier, I love signature holes because it's one of those things that when you get to a course, you're like, oh, I can't wait to play this hole. I want to unload my bag at this hole or whatever it is that you want to do in a casual round or whatever. I like to see that one thing that you always remember when you leave that course and go, dude, I can't wait to come back here and try that hole again,
Right. Absolutely. I think that leads us into this.
Gear. Oh my. And equipment.
What does he see? Maybe the perfect disc. The perfect disc that you could get at discgolfdealsusa.com/discgolfshow. You could save yourself a little bit of money, 10% off. Go there. Buy that equipment that apparently he saw and loved. It was perfect. Along with, not perfect, but at least good, we have some more approvals of some stuff that's going to be hitting the market here hopefully soon. Thought Space Athletics had the Vessel approved. Dynamic Discs had the Motive, an easy-to-throw fairway driver. I'm saying that in quotes because, okay. I love how they, tote some of this stuff on the end of their days, easy to throw, as opposed to... Anyways, Fluent Disc Sports, Inc. has the Borealis? Am I saying that right? Championship target approved, and I love seeing the more targets and stuff that come out and get approved. I think there does need to be a standard eventually, but I like seeing all the different variations and stuff that come out because I think eventually that'll kind of hopefully lead us there, right? We have more stuff on the market and we can kind of choose from there and standardize. So, also approved was Streamline Discs, the Turbulence, and I love this company's name, Pie Pan Discs, had the Grunt retooled because they had a Grunt before, approved again this time. Pie Pan Discs, gotta love it. That's where disc golf started, right? You throwing around the old pie pan, right? Other products, and I'll let Nick talk about this one because we recently met with him.
Yeah,
and they're
other
amazing.
products. We got Vessi shoes. If you want to check out our affiliate link, it will be in the notes below. If you need some waterproof, high top, low top, but they're all knitted style shoes. Very comfortable. Again, affiliate link will be in the notes below.
As always.
And and description below. So yeah, go check out Vessi unless you already have one you like. It's always good to have another pair of disc golf shoes as backup.
I mean, can you ever have too many pairs of disc golf shoe?
No.
My wife's not listening, right?
Gear. Oh my.
That's the wrong one.
K-E-N versus
Disc golf.
This week was interesting in fantasy again with the split field, with some people being
what time it is.
Vegas.
It's time for Ken's fantasy segment. Go for it, Ken.
Again, notably,
what do we got?
Calvin, going over there. Not going there, even though it was an Innova sponsored event. But I know there were some females that were definitely out. And then I know what I dealt with was Paige not doing the match play event, which we didn't even mention. There was actually a match play. If anybody's interested in that. She dropped out of that, but then played the event. So I dropped her from my fantasy team, thinking that oh well, she's not going to play the event, or if she's playing hurt, she might not be that good. It turned out that she would have been my best point getter. But who I put in, Hannah Wen, who I just picked up off of waivers. Which again, if you're not checking your waiver wires and not trying to make trades, I'm going to get into that a little bit later. I put in Hannah Wen, which she did terrific. Who I should have dropped, I guess, if you could say dropped or at least benched for this week, was Holland Handley. Who, again, if you asked 99 out of 100 people, no one would have done that. So I feel fine for myself that I kept Paul and Hanley in there, even though technically she did the worst of the 3 girls that I had to choose from that were there. But that's fantasy, Again, you gotta do that happens, and that's why if we look at our current leaders in our league anyway, Roger again is number 1. He's got the wins and losses. He's also right behind me in points. I know that, but I'm the point leader. But again, would have gotten more points had I put Paige Pierce in this week. But again, if you're struggling with that in fantasy, again, sometimes you just gotta be okay with it. Don't kick yourself in the butt too much if you're, looking at your bench and you're like, oh, why didn't I put that person in? I can't believe they did this or that. That's fantasy. Again, though, if you are having that player that constantly underperforms, it doesn't matter what name they are. I would say right now maybe like a Matt Oram, who again played at the other event, also hasn't been really up there this year. Like, don't be afraid to offer him up as trade, or set him on the bench for a while and take a flyer on somebody else that is in there. Also, now what I wanted to mention.
I myself might have to offer up Rebecca Cox as a trade.
Yeah.
She only performs when she's on my bench.
Right.
I know. I myself might have to offer up Rebecca Cox
sometimes,
as a trade
when you have small fields
she
like
only
that,
performs when she's on my bench.
You have too many good choices, and you're right.
So somebody
you
can
gotta
have that
offload
nightmare.
it, even though it
Done with
might
it.
seem odd.
Done with it.
But since we only have 2 slots for FPO Field, you're absolutely right, Justin. That is somewhere where you really should look. It's like, here's Rebecca Cox. I'm not putting her in. I keep fighting with myself every weekend and week out of whether to put her in. I'm not putting her in significantly enough. So please, somebody take her and give me a European player that's coming up, because again, this scheduling is kooky that's coming up. We've got Kona Peace Day, where I literally have no players going to play in my fantasy team. We also have a Disc Golf Pro Tour event happening the same week, and then there's another, I don't know. Then they come back to there's another event in the States that's happening a week after that, and then 2 weeks after that already is the major over there, isn't it? Or something like that. It's a kooky schedule. Just keep an eye on your rosters. Like I said, keep an eye on some waivers. Maybe pick up some European players that you're not familiar with, or maybe didn't get drafted, but just because of the fact that if your league has those events in there and are rolling with those events over in Europe, that you at least have some players getting you some points. That's all I really have to say. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I had Herman, and she ended up DNFing, which was frustrating. But again, it's gonna happen. You can't predict that stuff. If somebody has an injury or some issue,
right?
You just got to go with it. But I mean, my top 2, AB and Lizotte, even though I only came in, I think, 3rd, but still, I was happy with it. I was pretty happy myself.
That leads us to this.
You've got
Mail,
Incoming mail.
mail call.
Actually, we don't have mail, but this is also the section where we like to include a video that you should go out there and watch. We also don't have one of those, but I would say, check out Simon Lizotte's YouTube channel, because there's always fantastic stuff on there. I think one of the last videos that he had on there was that robot again that can do the disc throwing thing.
Ditto.
And they were, ditto, and where they were nailing the same ace over and over again consistently, and the margin of error is so tiny. That thing is awesome. But I think, hear me out, that type of thing, that machine Ditto, could lead us to possibly, and we've talked about this a little bit on the show before, getting some kind of consistent way to rate a flight of a disc, right? Where we can consistently set a disc on a machine that will always get within like a 1%, 2% statistically insignificant margin of error. The flight will always be consistently the same, so that when a disc comes out of it, whichever way it flies is the rating, and we apply it from there. Like, I think it could lead to something like that, which would be super cool. And probably disc manufacturers right now are like, no, because they're just thinking dollar signs and how much is this machine going to cost, and then there's licensing and all kinds of stuff. But then the person that comes up with that, Simon, get on it. I mean, you know, millionaire,
right?
Millionaire, patent, mine. That's how it works, right? What also is an interesting thing that comes up eventually on every show is the outro. If you're in the market for a new disc golf bag or maybe some equipment, check out Upper Park Disc Golf. Use the code Disc Golf Show to save 15% off your entire purchase. That's a great deal. Quick reminder, another great deal that we have, check out the links below, is discgolfdealsusa.com/Disc Golf Show. And most products, because there's a if you have clearance or sale, they're probably not going to be eligible, but most things on the site, save yourself 10%. That's a pretty good deal. This episode was brought to you in part by Final 9 Sports with their 2 locations. Support local if you can, or if not, refer to above. And remember to hit that subscribe button, because it does help out the channel. We thank you very much for listening to the show and subscribing if you do. And hopefully we can bring you many, many, many more here in the near future. And remember, in disc golf as in life, aim high, let it fly. Bye.